Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, quadash, double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone who teaches truth and sincerity, and a shout to Yakim out there spreading this truth. Barak the Yahawah, barak the yahawashi, bahasham, quadash, barak atham.
Соединенные Штаты совершили правосудие над террористом номер 1. Абу Бакр аль-Багдади мертв.
So we got the distraction news. Al-Baghdadi supposedly dead. The ISIS leader supposedly dead. You know, distraction news from ID 2020 and everything else they're trying to implement while they're trying to take Syria's oil fields. So we got lots of distractions going on. And of course, you know, we got the PG&E power shutoffs. Now power's been returned. All that going on. While I actually tried to do a lesson this morning, but then the goddamn battery died. So Slovakia for that. I didn't get to upload the camp video, so I just have to do it again tomorrow. Well, today was just a rehearsal, as we're just trying to rehearse righteous acts. And this is what's going on, of course, the distraction. Al-Baghdadi supposedly dead. But we know that's all just smoke and mirrors. So the United States are not leaving, and this is what Russia's saying, Magog.
Во-вторых, нам неизвестно ни о каком якобы оказании содействия пролету американской авиации в воздушное пространство зоны деэскалации Идлиб в ходе данной операции.
Yeah, and America has also entered the Idlib province.
Каким образом Аль-Багдади оказался в Идлибе, да еще мог ли жить там, если в Идлибе, мягко говоря, не его среда?
В-третьих, вся неподконтрольная сирийскому правительству территория зоны деэскалации Идлиб управляется и контролируется сирийским филиалом Аль-Каиды, террористической группировкой Джабхат ан-Нусра. Данная группировка всегда бескомпромиссно уничтожала ИГИЛ и любого ее представителя прямо на месте, как главных конкурентов за власть в Сирии. Поэтому спокойное пребывание на территории подконтрольной сирийской Аль-Каиде бывшего лидера ИГИЛ заслуживает как минимум отдельных прямых доказательств со стороны США или других участников операции.
Понятно, что сюжет в ближайшее время будет на слуху, и мир станет ждать доказательств ликвидации. Но нужно будет помнить главное. Сама история жизни Абу Бакр аль-Багдади типична для террориста ИГИЛ. Поначалу он служил офицером в армии лидера Ирака Саддама Хусейна. Когда США при поддержке Британии преступно и, как сегодня уже доказано, без всяких на то причин, вторглись в Ирак, то Аль-Багдади попал к американцам в плен. Как структура партизанского сопротивления англо-американскому вторжению в Ираке появилась террористическая группировка ИГИЛ. Эти же террористы и выручили Аль-Багдади из американского плена. В итоге он сам возглавил организацию. То есть Абу Бакр аль-Багдади – порождение американцев. Без них он бы и не появился, как и сама ИГИЛ. Очень образно, ведь о возможном убийстве прокомментировал глава Чечни Рамзан Кадыров.
And that the U.S. has been fighting a war on terror all along, when really it's just about stealing oil, looting these countries, and taking everything they can from it.
Смерть Аль-Багдади мало что меняет, если делить террористов на хороших и плохих. Можно полностью очистить ИГИЛ.
The assassination of Daesh kingpin Baghdadi sounds more and more like a just so story. Whether the tall tale of his demise, as reiterated by Trump, actually took place as stated is immaterial. There is and never will be any corroborative evidence of such. It's merely based on Trump's word, which is notoriously suspect. But the particulars of Baghdadi's death are not what's important. It's how his purported death is being utilized politically by Trump to further the predatory policy of U.S. imperialism in the Middle East. The U.S. Middle East policy is faced with a conundrum: how to maintain its presence after it has suffered ignominious defeats in Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, and Yemen. In all these cases, the U.S.-supported forces meant to overthrow its adversaries and install regimes of its own liking that support U.S. objectives in the region, including the protection of its surrogates Israel and Saudi Arabia, have failed. Long-term U.S. policy has been to facilitate the projection of Israeli and Saudi power in order to surround and isolate Iran and secure U.S. regional hegemony throughout the Middle East. This effort has been derailed by the defeat of U.S. proxies in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria, and the inability to contain the conflict in Yemen, which has become an existential threat to Saudi Arabia. This has necessitated a reevaluation of U.S. strategy. It has now shifted from regime change wars to the military occupation of key strategic assets that will impede national reconstruction in the targeted countries and thwart the influence of both China and Russia in those efforts. The aborted U.S. troop withdrawal from Syria must be seen in this light. It was another charade conducted by the charlatan-in-chief, who by a sleight of hand ensconced U.S. troops in Syria's most valuable asset, its oil fields. The betrayal of the Kurds, the acquiescence to Turkish deployments in Syrian territory along the border, and the operation against Baghdadi all serve as a cover for the U.S. deployment of troops in sovereign Syrian territory. No matter what Trump's rhetoric may be, the U.S. does not need to seize the oil for itself, nor is it simply to deprive the Islamic State access. The real reason is to maintain a U.S. presence on Syrian territory and prevent the Syrian people from using their own resources to rebuild their country. In true imperialist fashion, as far as Trump is concerned, the oil is his to allocate as he sees fit. Better to hand the oil fields over to ExxonMobil than allow Chinese national oil companies taking the lion's share of contracts to help Syria develop them. In addition, Trump has curried favor with Turkey's President Erdogan by sacrificing the Kurds, who are now considered a liability rather than an asset for securing U.S. hegemony in the region. But the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry, and the U.S. position in the Middle East, South Asia, and elsewhere is more tenuous than ever.
Disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
He was terrorist number one. Now his throne is up for the taking.
A brutal killer, one who has caused so much hardship and death, has violently been eliminated. He died like a dog. He died like a coward.
Al-Baghdadi, the only dog to be blessed with all 9 lives apparently, because since 2015, various reports proclaimed him dead at least 5 times. The Americans did it, the Russians did it, he was bombed, captured, poisoned, and months later appeared in rare new videos struggling to breathe hope into his dwindling caliphate. Now, Donald Trump, in his signature cocky tone, has joined the choir which has been announcing al-Baghdadi's deaths for years.
From the first day I came to office, and now we're getting close to 3 years, I would say, where's al-Baghdadi? I want al-Baghdadi.
For Trump, killing al-Baghdadi is a line he'd love to add to his presidential resume, because now he's just as good as Obama with his bin Laden operation. But Trump being Trump, he didn't stop at just taking credit for the kill. He's taken it to a whole new level.
Baghdadi has been on the run for many years, long before I took office. But at my direction, as Commander-in-Chief of the United States, we obliterated his caliphate 100% in March of this year.
It's been 8 years since bin Laden's death. Al-Qaeda hasn't gone anywhere. Al-Baghdadi was a symbol, for sure, the first caliph. And after the first comes the second, and the third, and the fourth. Al-Baghdadi, Al-Fallujah, Al-Ramadi. There's enough cities and villages in Iraq for every terrorist. So the terrorist king is dead. Long live the king.
So I think that we can all wake up and smell the bullshit. We know it's horse shit. We know that there never was an al-Baghdadi. And even so, yes, you do have actors, just like you had the actor play Osama bin Laden. And the same thing here with al-Baghdadi, man. Of course, duh. It's a terror group that they've always controlled. So supposedly they kill him, which many countries are calling it horse shit. And it is horse shit. What they've done is they've pretty much this Operation Golan Heights, Operation pretty much, Syrian oil, because that's what it's about, stealing the oil from Syria. And of course, al-Jafari, restoration of occupied Syrian Golan will remain a priority for Syria. Because of course they're talking about regaining the Golan Heights from the terrorists, the Amalekites that took it. So that's all there, but they want to hide that with the guys of, we beat al-Baghdadi, so that's why we invaded the Idlib province, and that's why we're re-invading Syria. New York Syrian Arab News Agency Permanente representative to the UN, Dr. Bashar al-Jafri, said on Monday that the occupied Golan is part and parcel of the Syrian Arab Republic territories, adding that restoring it to the line of June 4, 1967, with all means guaranteed by the international law, will remain a priority for Syria. Al-Jafri, during a Security Council session on the situation in the Middle East, added that some Western states seek to dominate the UN and change it into a tool in the service of their agendas based on hegemony and piracy, which of course they're talking about Amalek and the United States, which Amalek runs the United States, always has. He added the Western states' control on Security Council made it ineffective to impose implementation of its resolutions related to ending the Israeli occupation of the Arab lands in Palestine, Syria, Golan, and South Lebanon. Again, this is the least of the flock drawing everyone into this war. Al-Jafari stressed that Syria is astonished that the UN envoy for the Middle East, Nicholas Midov, ignored in his briefs what the Israeli occupation does and practices against civilian citizens of Syrian Golan. He affirmed that the Israeli occupation authorities tried to change the demographic feature and the Syrian national identity in the occupied Syrian Golan, loot its antiquities, resources, and capture its lands, which is why America has reinvaded the Idlib province. He affirmed that the Israeli occupation authorities tried to change the demographic feature of, and I already read that, alright. Al-Jafri held the states that support the Israeli occupation entity responsible for the repercussions of what entity does of crimes and violations in the occupied Arab lands. Syria renews its firm stance in support of Palestinian people's right of self-determination, establish their independent state with Jerusalem as its capital and the right of refugees to return home, Al-Jafri added. So you see how the least of the flock, Amalek, is drawing everybody into this war? Because, of course, all those that were partakers of the Psalm 83, pretty much everyone that partaken in this, you can see that they're right there in that territory. And all are getting heavily judged by Esau, Edom. At least their flock, Amalek, who is bringing the hammer of the whole earth. And pretty much this is where it's going to end. That's why ID 2020 is being set up over here and has already been effective. And that's why you're seeing the wildfire spreads. And this just in from anti-media, U.S. boasts to troop numbers in east to Syria to control oil. So pretty much, deployment into Syria to control the oil. That's what it's been about. With several hundred U.S. troops already planned to stay in Syria to control the oil, U.S. convoys are sending more troops into Syria Deir ez-Zor province from neighboring Iraq and reinforcing the areas around the oil fields. Exactly how many troops are there or how many were sent is not known. President Trump previously classified troop levels in Syria, saying the enemy must never know of American plans. It's not clear who the enemy is at this point, since the war's goal is now controlling the oil. But President Trump has indicated repeatedly that he intends to not just retain control over Syria's oil, and that he believes the U.S. deserves to take some oil for itself out of Syria's fields. With Trump escalating talk and taking the oil, it's clear the U.S. military is being charged with escalating its presence at the oil to preclude anyone from contesting America's claim to the oil. And I have a couple more from Press TV. Syria continues deploying troops in Hasaka. So Syrian Arab Army is moving into Hasaka, which, of course, you know as well as I do that it's because, the terrorists, the United States, have moved from that area and now are moving in Idlib. Syria continues to deploy troops to the border with Turkey in the northeastern province of Hasaka as part of plans to counter the Turkish aggression and defend the local state media said on Monday that the Syrian Arab Army sent out units on the town of Tal Tamar, the 90-kilometer deployment area strategies, the northeastern town of Ras Al Ain and Qamishai. Syrian Arab News Agency said the stationing of Syrian troops was toward the country's east and completion of their deployment to the rest of the border with Turkey. Kurdish militants of the so-called Syrian Democratic Forces started to withdraw on Sunday from the borderline. On October 22nd, President Vladimir Putin and his Turkish counterpart Erdogan signed a memorandum of understanding that they asserted that Kurdish militants from the People's Protection Units, which constitutes the backbone of the SDF, must withdraw from the Turkish-controlled safe zone in northeastern Syria within 150 hours, after which period Ankara and Moscow will run joint patrols around the area. The announcement was made hours before a U.S. brokered 5-day truce between Turkish and Kurdish-led forces was due to expire, which you and I both know that Turkey continued to bomb during that so-called ceasefire. On October 9, Turkish military forces and Ankara-backed militants launched a long-threatened cross-border invasion of northeastern Syria in a declared attempt to push YPG militants from the border areas. And here we go. There's more. 2 civilians killed in bombing in Raqqa, Aleppo. Syrian Arab News Agency also reported on Monday that 2 civilians were killed and an unspecified number of others were injured in a bomb attack in the northeast Syrian province of Aleppo and Raqqa. You can best believe the United States is behind this. The news agency said a booby-trapped motorcycle exploded in front of a bread production facility in the border town of Tal Abyad in Raqqa, leaving the children dead and others wounded, also causing material damage to the site. Local sources in Aleppo said 1 civilian was martyred and others sustained wounds of varying severity with an explosive device planted in the Al-Raha town went off. Oh, and there's more. Of course, the United States is still in Iraq and causing trouble over here. Mortar rounds hit U.S. military base north of Iraqi capital. So it's a false flag so they can send in more troops into Iraq. An Iraqi security source said 3 mortar rounds have hit a military base north of the country's capital, Baghdad, where U.S. troops are deployed. So, of course, to get this momentum up, everybody's going to think they have to fight for this bullshit. 2 rounds landed inside the Taja base and exploded, and a third landed outside it and did not detonate. The source said, without giving any details on possible damage or casualties. No group or individual has so far claimed responsibility for the attack on the U.S. terrorist base, which comes as a wave of anti-government protests has been sweeping major cities in the country, including the capital city. So, of course, we know that this is a Mossad operation to keep the terrorists in Iraq so they can attack both Iran and Syria. It's really about all that. Early on Monday, the government imposed a curfew in the capital, Baghdad, as renewed anti-government protests entered a fourth day. The curfew hours are from midnight to 6 a.m. local time until further notice. State television quoted the Baghdad operations commander as saying on Monday, the curfew came after students and school children joined protests in Baghdad and cities in southern Iraq, defying the education minister who had warned them against partaking in the unrest. So this is a Mossad operation, causing uproars of the people, because of course, pretty much, here's the thug himself. President Trump says Abu al-Baghdadi died like a dog after blowing himself up and 3 children inside a tunnel. Yeah, we're not even going to see a body, so yeah, I should believe that, because Trump said so. So that's what's going on over here. Alright, I'm going to flip this thing over so you can see me on camera.
I cannot sleep. Even on my faraway planet of Uranus, there is chit-chatter of the Kurds being slaughtered and U.S. foreign policy in Syria. I'm confused. What is a Kurd? The Kurds are a distinct ethnic group that spans across multiple countries. In Syria, there are allies against ISIS. But recently, Turkey in the north attacked the Kurds, surprising the entire world. But even more shocking is that Donald Trump suddenly withdrew U.S. presence from Syria, essentially leaving the Kurds to die. Shouldn't Democrats applaud Trump for being anti-war? Why should Americans die for Kurdistan? I don't understand the concept of Kurdistan. The Kurds are an ethnicity and their land spreads across multiple countries, from Syria, Turkey to Iraq, which causes quite a bit of conflict. Kurdistan is like curd tofu, in that it could take any shape. It's not that good on its own, you need other flavors, and apparently it's one of the few things that hippie liberals will fight for. Dude, I love organic curd tofu. While I normally am a pacifist that finds harmony and peace within the universe, I will kill you if you touch my curd. Speaking of food, the Kurds are throwing tomatoes at U.S. forces as they leave Syria. That's giving Trump's decision a bad score on Rotten Tomatoes. Why was the United States helping the Kurds to begin with? The Kurds are our ally in fighting ISIS. You know who's actually beating ISIS in Syria? The Russians. So as MSNBC is like, the Russians, 5 minutes later, oh, the Kurds are dying, the Kurds. You know who's actually killing the Kurds? Turkey. Why can't we fight Turkey? I don't know, maybe because they're in NATO, they're our NATO ally. So you're basically going, oh, the Kurds are dying, the Kurds. By the way, we can't help the Kurds because we're part of an anti-Russia group. I don't understand Russia's role in Syria. Can you explain? Russia is aiding Bashar Assad in Syria to fight ISIS. And they're winning, unlike America, which fought for years and years in Iraq and achieved nothing. So if Russia wants to influence our elections, that might save us tax money. Where do Russians get the nerve to fight ISIS? Well, aren't you just upset they let Republicans win? Well, Republicans are greedy for not wanting to pay taxes. Oh, what are you going to do with the tax money? To fight ISIS. So you're saying America is much softer on terror than Russia. Yeah, that's why the Iraq War took so long. Progressives love to bitch and complain about George Bush's Guantanamo Bay. But right now there's a jihadist in Syria saying, you know, I miss Dick Cheney. Compared to fighting Russia, waterboarding was fun. But here's the wild part. WikiLeaks got famous for revealing American influence in foreign elections. That's right, WikiLeaks released cables from American diplomats that showed all of these American puppet dictators in the Middle East were corrupt, and that sparked the Arab Spring Revolution. I thought Arab Spring was caused by social media. Well, that's what they tell you on CNN interviews.
In a Skype interview from Cairo, Zidane says the Egyptian revolution made history because of the internet.
If I can name it, I will name it a Twitter revolution.
In reality, it was leaked cables from WikiLeaks showing that the United States was giving money to Tunisia's dictator, Ben Ali, as aid money for food, even though they knew he was using the money for weapons, which he used against his own people. Come on, nobody ever got an espionage charge for fake news. In Egypt, Mubarak had a similar corrupt story, and all across the Middle East, people were tiring of their American puppets. You'd have to be high to believe that Twitter caused Arab Spring. Maybe that's why they call it a hashtag. Smoke it by the pound symbol. Here's the wild part. Twitter actually included Arab Spring in their 10th birthday promotional video. So when WikiLeaks tweets about corrupt Arab dictators, they get a promotional video. When WikiLeaks tweets about corrupt American dictators, they get locked out of their accounts, censored, and harassed by Twitter. So if it's only legitimate if you're Arab, then Julian Assange should have showed up to court in a f***ing burqa. We must resist American dictators. Oh my God, he's using Twitter. Arabs must love Western values. You know, Twitter refused to ever verify Julian Assange. When an account is verified, it's the platform saying it's the official account of a celebrity, so you show up higher on search terms for the name. Instead, newspapers criticizing him show up first. But Assange could use this to his advantage. When he stands trial for internet crimes, he could say, well, Twitter said it wasn't me. You are not the real fake news. Okay, you caught me. Well, Assange was a political prisoner, so just for tweeting his stuff, we could jail you too. Here's the great irony. America originally started this system of putting puppet dictators in third world countries to combat Russian influence. That's why they're called the third world. We were the first world, Russia was the second world, and random poor countries on neither side were the third world, like the Middle East. So if Arab Spring caused revolutions that hurt our puppet dictators that were a defense system against Russia, then Twitter's 10th promotional video might as well have been made by Moscow. The Kremlin love a Twitter 10th promotional video. More vodka. Donald Trump is in the right to withdraw U.S. forces from Syria. It's Democrats that want to smear his campaign by bringing up this random, illogical Russian fear. Donald Trump makes 0 sense. Why does he want to withdraw U.S. troops from Syria, but keep up U.S. aid for Saudi Arabia to bomb Yemen? Can you explain this? House Democrats recently passed a bill to end American aid to Saudi Arabia to bomb Yemen, and Donald Trump vetoed it. Really? America is aiding in horrible war crimes, killing innocent young children. It's a shame that Jeffrey Epstein died, because he should have served as Trump's national security advisor, now that we know that Trump likes his romance like his war targets, illegally underage. Who are the Saudis fighting in Yemen? The rebels fighting against Saudi Arabia's dictator are a local group called the Houthis. Well, I don't know how local they really are when they hold up pictures of Hezbollah's leader from Lebanon. Well, maybe they're holding up pictures of people fighting in Syria, so Donald Trump will want to pull out. How can Republicans be against abortion, but be okay with killing children after they're born in Yemen? So if you're a woman in Yemen, just don't get caught not being pregnant. Now there's silly phrasing. If the Yemenites don't pull out, American troops will. Copy, this is Republican Bomber. She is about to give birth. I am ready to engage. Baby, the bomber planes are coming. We gotta get it on. Can you at least put on some Marvin Gaye? Oh no, they just made a new fetus. We have to wait 9 months to fire. Do you really think that Donald Trump is Christian if he's using words like grab that pussy? Maybe he's trying to reduce abortions, since you'll never get her pregnant if you just use your hand. You idiot, the Yemen Houthis are clearly getting aid from Hezbollah and Iran. I'm concerned with Iran's nuclear program, and that's why I think Donald Trump was right to pull out of the deal, because their nuclear program is a serious threat. That's total bullshit, and the irony is, I know it From WikiLeaks. The WikiLeaks book has leaked cables of American diplomats pressuring the International Energy Association that if they didn't declare that Iran was weaponizing nuclear power, then the Americans would reduce the agency's role in international affairs, even though the leader of the agency declared that the evidence for this was fabricated. Interesting, because Donald Trump's election derives its legitimacy from WikiLeaks, because it's their revelations on his enemy that allowed him to get into power. But yet, Donald Trump's actions against Iran are based on lies disproven in WikiLeaks. Conservatives will believe anything. That's why they're Christian. In fact, Donald Trump treats WikiLeaks like the Bible, in that he believes it's true, but we all know he hasn't read it. Okay, so freeze. The United States government is putting you under arrest for treason. But I'm not even from Earth. It appears as though Democrats use illogical random fears of Russia to smear Donald Trump's campaign when Trump is looking to remove American presence from Syria, while at the same time Trump, listening to bogus Israeli intelligence, wants to destroy Barack Obama's diplomacy with Iran and bomb children in Yemen. The entire thing is absurd because Russia, Iran, and Hezbollah are all situational partners in Syria, which ties together all of these conflicts. So, you admit to helping the enemy? No, I plead innocence. I'm saying I was trying to kill Russians, Iranians, and Yemenites, but the United States is such a hypocrisy, I couldn't figure out who to vote for to do it. He's a Russian spy. Oh my god, you killed the alien. You bastard, you. It's okay, he'll respawn back next episode. Baby, the bomber planes are coming. I got the Marvin Gaye CD right here. Let's get it on. I looked out the window, there was nothing. You're just making this up to get laid. Alright, you caught me.
So as I said before, I'm not sure how much more I'll have this platform as, well, actually I do know, all the way till almost the end of the month, and most of the time you'll be seeing me in the car commenting in between videos, trying to at least do 10 minutes or more, you know, doing my 3 videos a week and still going out in the streets and teaching. Today I went and did that, but as I already stated earlier, the camera, it just died, you know, the phone just died after, you know, the 30 minutes, you know, and it just died and nothing was recorded of it. So that was just a rehearsal. We're just rehearsing the righteous acts. But as you can tell, this supposedly killed al-Baghdadi is nothing more than distractions from ID 2020 and what they're really doing in Syria, as they really are in there to operation pretty much Syrian fields. They're coveting the oil fields of Syria in Iraq. You know, that's why you're starting to see protests, just like they did in Syria the whole time. Of course, and the U.S., of course, is going to increase its military presence there, because it's the Most High himself that is pleading with his nation, pleading there for his people, yahawah, with all these other nations. Let the men of war draw near, and it's happening. The Valley Yahawah, and it's coming up real quick, as well as ID 2020, which is the bigger part of Agenda 2030, which has been a big part of what the real ID was about, you know. And pretty much just pray that I find a place to stay as well, you know, because, of course, you know, this devil has come down having great wrath. And, you know, so I'm going to switch back, and then I'm just going to go ahead and read some scriptures and then close this thing after a few videos play.
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory and honor and praises to Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, quadash, barak, atham. Double honors to my apostles, a great millstone. And salutations to the Akim in the four corners who's pushing this truth in sincerity, love, diligence, respect, fear, and trembling. Alright, it's a Tazwa with another gem, spirit of knowledge. And I'm going to make it quick, Lord willing, through the Spirit. I got this book. Alright, this is one of them books that the apostles and elders speak about going back years ago. It's by William Cooper, okay? And it's got a lot of information, reliable information in this book, man. They go deep into the depths of Satan, so to speak, the witchcraft that Esau has been putting out here. In fact, it has it reveals on how Esau, Edom, all right, they used, I believe it was 100 million funded by the World Health Organization to create the AIDS virus and put it in the so-called black community, which is Judah, all right, the top tribe, all right. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what is known as the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, and it has information about that, okay. Now this is page 444, okay, page 444. It says, Big Brother's coming. Revealed secret plan to tag every man, woman, and child. Okay? So, we've been bringing this out through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, beginning with the Apostles of Great Millstone. And in fact, this book was made, it was copywritten in 1991. We're in 2019. I don't know exactly when it was made. I know it was probably the late 80s, maybe the early 90s when this book was created. But it's saying the same thing that we're saying in 2019, and it's prophecy, okay? And first and foremost, let me get Psalms, what is that, 64, 65, and 8. Okay, because the pride of Esau, Edom, he reveals certain things in his books, in his movies, and you know, and this is why Jake has no excuse, because you have the prophets, the men of the Lord out here proclaiming what's finna come to pass, and then you have Esau, Edom, boasting and bragging about what they're gonna do to the world. Okay, they have put all the signs of the so-called New World Order out. Okay, in movies, they make it in the They put it in the movies. They put it on that, what is that, WWF, the wrestling. You had a group called the New World Order, or NWO. Okay, so they use their little subliminal messages on what they're gonna do later on. Okay, and the microchip, the RFID chip, is the #1 thing that they're gonna do. Okay, to get people to be their slaves, man. Specifically, the Israelites, which consists of the blacks, Latinos, and North American Indians, man. All right, and then the scattered abroad. This is Psalm 64 and 8. It says, "So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away." Okay, so this is a part of their tongue falling upon themselves, man. Okay, they're beginning to reveal secrets, okay, in books, and boastfully and proudly doing it because they don't think that we're able to catch it, man. But see, the Lord put a new spirit on this generation, and this generation I'm talking about is the prophets, man. He woke the men of the Lord up, okay, so we can have that what is known as the eye salve and revelations, so we can see through the depths of Satan, man. We understand that. Let me get that. Revelations, I believe it's 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and read. And yeah, go ahead and read and close on out. I know it's in Revelations. Is it Revelations 2 or is it Revelations 3? Give me 1 second. Depths of Satan. Okay, because hey, we know the depths of Satan. We know how serious this mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, is. And you have Jake, who knows that they're Israelites, and they're not trying to take heed because of all this false teachers, man. You see, you guys that know that you're Israelites and know that the mark of the beast is the RFID chip, hey, the Lord is going to deal with you, man. Esau is being a real bitch right now. Depths of Satan. How about I just put Satan in? Here we go. 2 and 24. Thought I was there. I must have went right past it. Slot. Okay, this is Revelation 2 and 24. But unto you I say, and unto the rest of Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, which is the doctrine is talking about the whole 100% truth, okay? And which have not known the depths of Satan, as they speak, I will put upon you no other burden. Okay, so we know the depths of Satan. We know the how deep the rabbit hole can get when it comes to the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. Okay, we know his plot, his trick, and his plan. Okay, they have something called the S chip, which was orchestrated by the Bush administration, which they were slowly, gradually trying to implement the microchip through the healthcare bill, man. Okay, which is state children's insurance program. Okay, so we know the different twists and the plots that this devil is trying to do to implement this new world order world government, trying to be like the Most High, tracking the entire world, man. Okay, and it was prophesied that this was going to happen, and throughout the course of prophecy, okay, the Lord boosted up our faith by showing little implements of things to come to pass, man. Okay, He's showing us. All right, so let me get into this book. Okay, then this is page 444. It says, coded microchips implanted in every person in the country would tie all of us into a master computer that could track anyone down at any moment. And plans for such a system are already underway, whether you like it or not. Okay, this Internet of Things, this connection of technology with the humans on Earth, they have a base where they want to be able to surveillance everyone. Okay, and we've been saying this, but this is prophecy, because it says everyone in the country, which eventually everyone in the world. Okay, which we bring this out. This scripture has been brought out damn near 5 billion times, you know, but the prophet's reading it over and over and over and over, man. And Esau know that we're right about these things. This is Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, okay, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And that image is this current New World Order globalization system that's being set up by the so-called white man, Esau. Okay, that's that image. Okay, this New World Order to be one with this society. Another form of it is called the Baha'i faith. Okay, and the Baha'i faith is clashing all religions into one. Okay, a few years ago, I don't know, probably like 2005 or 6, it was a call for all religions to meet up at like a summit meeting, man. You had your Christians, you had your Catholics, you had your Muslims, and everyone had to go around and read to understand each person's religion and all come up under one banner, man. That's the Baha'i faith. And that's part of this, the image of the beast, okay, which is this the new global one world order system, okay. Homosexuality, okay. You can do whatever, do what thy wilt, spirit. Going back to the beast system that was set up, Rome, okay. All that wickedness. If you don't want to be down with this program, be down with this system, man, you're gonna be put to death. And to show that you're down with this society, you have to take what? The chip. Let's keep going. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And let's go back. Small and great, no matter what status you are. rich or poor. You got the wealthy, then you got the poor people, you got the bums on the street, you got, you know, so-called first class, middle class, the poor class, and then the wealthy class. Everybody gets it. Free, those that can freely walk out. Like now, I'm about to go to work in a minute. I'm free. I'm not under no shackles and chains. But then you have free and bond. You have the people that's up in prisons and in jail systems. They're setting something up for where if you have a parole, or if you're out on a PO hold or something like that, you have to get the microchip so they can know your whereabouts, man. If you're out on a signature bond and you have to be back in court in a couple of months, you're gonna get that RFID chip so you can so they can make sure you're not finna jump state. Okay, jail. What they call it? It's a term that they call it once you get released off a signature bond, or you bond it out, and you're not allowed to go to another state. I can't think of the term, but I think it's called bond jumping. You go flee off into another state or another country or something like that. Well, they're going to implement that RFID chip, okay, so they can be able to track your whereabouts, okay? And that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the mark. Okay, when you go into that word mark, is charagma, which means to incision, okay? Or the name of the beast, of the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 636. Okay, and when you understand the barcode system setup, okay, it's something called the three guard bars, man, which is the beginning, the middle, and end of your UPC barcode. This right here. Okay. Now, when you go into the understanding of this, you have your 3 bar guard codes, which is the beginning, the middle, and the end. And when you put that in the system of the computer, the number goes back to 666. And I did a lesson on it maybe, I believe, 2 weeks ago. Okay, so let's go back. Coded microchips implanted in every person in the country would tie all of us into a mass computer that could track anyone down at any moment. Boom. That is the prophecy of Revelation 13th chapter, the 15th on down to the 18th verse, man. And you got that guy, one body in yahawashi out there in Dallas, a break off from IUIC, which they don't hop on the chip. Okay, he doesn't believe that the microchip is the mark of the beast, because he said it himself maybe like a week or 2 ago, that you need a tiny micro, whatever the hell he said. That's what you got the computers for, whatever the hell he said. Well, this system, this chip, this is one of those miracles that Esau has created, that was given to him by the Lord. That chip is basically the computer. That chip is the Internet of Things that connects to the master base computer, man, where you're gonna have all your records on. You're gonna have your whatever diseases you may have, your blood type, your prescription pills, your address. You know what I'm saying? Where you work at, how much you got in your account. Okay, because it said you won't be able to buy or sell. So that chip is basically is going to be like your barcode. Okay, it's when you put your chip in from your credit card. Okay, they call it the chip. You got to insert your chip. So you insert your chip, you can be able to buy or sell. Well, that microchip is going to be that next insertion, so you can be able to buy and sell, man. That's going to be your new barcode. Okay, it's not that hard to understand, man. All right, he that have the ear, let him hear. Let's see. It says the secret scheme is being touted as a service for the protection of the people by high government officials. But some insiders who object to the move say it's just another way for Big Brother to control its for a big brother to control. Okay? And which it is. Alright? So you got Daniel, the 8th chapter, 25th verse. Let me get there real quick. Because they're going to come up under the guise like Antiochus Epiphanes, as he's all love and he's all for the people. And he came in and he slaughtered them, you know. And that's what Esau is about to do. He said, well, this is something that we're going to do for the people so we can help and track and to keep everyone safe. This is Daniel 8 and 25. And through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. You see, through his policy. When you go into that word policy, I can't think of the Hebrew word, but it means tricky, cunning device. Okay? Well, the scripture says, be not ignorant of Satan's devices. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. Daniel 8, verse 25. And through his policy, let's look up the word policy. I believe it starts with an S. Yep, Shakal, yep, Khan. Okay. Through his policy, so the Hebrew word is Shakal, his prudence, his insight, his understanding, cunning, craft, bad sense. So and through his cunning and his craftiness in a bad fashion. Okay. Through wickedness, man. Through his wisdom. Okay, through his wicked wisdom, his wicked prudence, man. Okay, so he's gonna set up policies. Okay, his wicked craftiness to say that okay, you have a son with autism. Okay, you know how autism kids is or ADHD kids is. They can't focus. They can't remember things. If they wander off somewhere, we're gonna give them the microchip so we can make sure they're safe. But ultimately, this is gonna be the destruction of the people because if you take it, you're going to be destroyed by the Heavenly Father, yahawashi. Okay? So, let's keep it going. The secret scheme is being touted as a service for the protection of the people. Okay, I read that part. Let's jump down to transmitters. It says top-level national security agency are trying to convince sources in the Bush administration to begin the project in which every man, woman, and child will be implanted with a tiny transmitter. You see, that's why we say that, well, first and foremost, the word president means to be it doesn't mean slave. The word president, it means to be a slave. Now, this is talking about the Bush administration, man. Now, if this book was in the 90s, this has to be talking about Daddy Bush, okay? So if you go look up the Bush administration, you look up their healthcare bills and their plans and their acts. Slowly they begin to through gradualism, put and implement new aspects of what they ideas are, man. The Obama administration was basically a revised version of the son Bush. Baby Bush's administration, man, when it came to the healthcare bill, man. And in fact, if they said something about the Bush administration, well, when Obama came on the scene, he had, I believe they said in 2013, March, I believe it was March 20th or March something, that they were going to have mandatory for the microchip to be put in the healthcare system. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. All right, but I know under the Obama administration, I believe it was 2013. I believe I'm not mistaken. It was 2013 when they had something set up. Okay, they had something being set up, and it was a deadline for the chip, man. Once you go into the different clauses of his bill, man. Okay, so we understand that these are all puppets. Okay, that's orchestrated by the Bankett family, which is the so-called Jews. Okay, the elites, the Rothschilds. Okay, the Rockefellers, which they're the same people. Okay, that Britain and they push on all their plans and policies, man. Okay, they push their plans and policies over here in America. Okay, so it's all connected, man. Let's see. It's to begin the project in which every man, woman, and child will be implemented with a tiny transmitter, claims Davis Millerand, a critic of government intervention, who says he has received leaked information from inside sources. They're trying to say this will be a good way for authorities to quickly track down missing persons and children, as well as criminals and spies. See? They're going to come in a crafty manner that they're going to help the people, but that's not what it is, man. They want mass control over the world. Okay? And we're seeing it play out, man. You have the ID 2020 thing that has been Apostle Tahar had brought out, man. And you go into the depths of that, man, you're going to find out that they have these billion-dollar corporation businesses that's funding this thing, that's funding the chip, that's funding your medical information to be placed on that microchip. Okay? And then when you go more into it, which I got some articles on it, which we was going over a couple of days ago, is that it was orchestrated by the Rockefellers, man. The Rockefellers implemented a 1 million investment into this system, which I'm 100% sure was way more. Okay? But let's get a scripture real quick. See, they have their think tanks, man, and they think that they think tanks think that they can get over on the Lord. This is Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. Okay? Woe to them that devise iniquity upon their beds, man. They have these wicked secret council meetings. Okay? And then when the morning is light, okay, they practice it. How? Because they have the money, they have the backing to go. Let's shoot for this. Let's go shoot for this. Let's bring out in Wisconsin. It's called the three square market corporation. Let's see if we can chip all of our employees at the 3 square market out here in Wisconsin, man. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how this test run. Let's do some commercials about it. Let's see how it goes. Okay, and they begin to practice these things. Okay, and then they can get their they don't have to be real employees. They can be staged actors to make commercials who's invested into this thing, man. And they can make it seem all fancy and all good. Okay? But see, you people, you have no excuse, man. Because here it is, you got the prophets of Yahawah, which we believe we are the prophets of the Most High. Okay? Because we're saying the things that's happening before it even comes to pass. All right? We're blowing that trumpet. Okay? And you guys are not dancing to the tune. Okay? So you're going to get caught up out there, man. Okay? We're blowing the trumpet for the enemy, letting you know that the enemy is going to come and try to put himself over the Most High, and he's going to come and destroy you. And you guys are not even ain't listening to the music. This is Numbers 10. Let me just start from 9. And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord Yahawah, your power, and ye shall be saved from your enemies, man. Esau, the so-called white man, is the enemy, man. And we're blowing the trumpet. Okay, the trumpet is the book. This is the Bible, man. It's the word of Yahawah Shemel Shai. This is the trumpet. And we're blowing to let you know that we have invaders, we have intruders coming. Okay? When you watch these ancient movies, these ancient war movies like 300, all right, Troy, you have watchmen set up at the posts at the top of the castle, okay, and then you have those men that have the microscope or telescope or whatever the case is, that they can see far visionaries. They can see afar off for enemies, man. All right, and we have that eye salve, like I spoke about earlier, through the Spirit and power of Yahawah Shai. We see the enemy coming. Okay, he's coming in, and he's coming in stealth, but the Lord is having us be able to see it. Okay, and we're blowing that trumpet, the alarm with the trumpet. The enemy is coming. All right, and you people ain't you're not dancing to that tune, man. Luke 7 chapter. So whoever get the chip, it good old fucking well, man. We're not gonna take it, you know. We're willing through the Spirit and power of Yahawah Shai. We keep that spirit on us, you know. 144. How do What is that? I call Luke 7. Okay, that's 3. This is Luke 7 and 31. And the Lord said, whereunto then shall I liken the men of this generation? And to what are they like? They are like unto children sitting in the marketplace and calling one to another. And what's the marketplace? The highways and hedges. All right? We're out there on the highways and byways, man. Calling out and calling one to another and saying, we have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned to you, and ye have not wept. So we're piping, okay? See, when you go into the strip, this is a song, man, okay? When you read about the harp, okay, the harp is actually the new song, which is the words of Yahawah Shai, and we're actually, you know, singing, so to speak, and the people are supposed to be dancing. The people are supposed to be dancing to what we're saying, meaning taking heed, being mindful, okay? Okay, once you hear that song, you're going to be able to remember that song. And part of that song is prophecy, okay? And one of the prophecies is the microchip is the RFI. The microchip is the mark of the beast, okay? So now, when things start to get implemented, you can remember that song like, hey, the prophets, the men of the Lord said that we're not supposed to take that. Okay, if you do take that, Revelations 14 and 9, you're going to get judged by it. Okay, but see, you have these other people, they're not taking heed to that pipe because they're not dancing. They don't remember the song. Part of that song is the name. Okay, when you read Revelation the 14th chapter, it tells you, Revelation the 14th chapter, it's in the beginning. Okay, it tells you that the ones that knew that new song knew the name. Okay, and through that name, we're going to be saved and delivered with faith. Okay, and you got guys like One Body in Yahawashi. You guys got GOCC and ISUPK and all these other groups that's not teaching that the mark of the beast is the RFID chip, but it's in the scriptures. And then now today, is plenty of information about it. Going back into the 90s. It's things that goes back to the 90s that they're saying that they're going to do mass chipping, man. Aaron Russo even spoke about the microchip. Okay? So when we hear these guys teaching and they're so-called bringing the word out of, which they're bringing parts of it out, okay? Can't knock them for that. They're bringing out that you're the Israelites. The white man is Esau, Edom. Okay, we're gonna be the Lord is for the nation of Israel. Okay, they bring certain things out, but when it's time to go in depth with this thing, they're not the hedge. They're not because you know what the hedge is. The hedge is the protection from Yahawah Shai. Job had the hedge on him. Okay, which Satan was complaining about that he had a hedge around him. Ezekiel 13 and 4. O Israel, thy prophets are like the foxes in the desert. Ye have not gone up into the gaps, okay? Neither made up the hedge for the house of Israel to stand in the battle in the day of the Lord Yahweh. So they didn't make up the hedge. They didn't bring a protection over them, which is the warning. Okay, the warning is don't take the chip. Don't take the mark of the beast. That's putting that hedge around us, because when it comes to pass, which it already came to pass, it's just not implemented as in law, mandatorily. Okay, but if you're not teaching about this, if you're not teaching about the microchip, you're not putting the hedge on the people. Okay, as far as we only know, there's other people that teach you that the mark of the beast is the microchip, but they're not pushing on it hard. Okay, they may say it's the chip. Okay, and then something else, but it's more than that, which it ain't, man. Okay, so they're still not putting that hedge of faith to not take it. They're putting it in the stance of, well, you can take it if you want, or you don't have to take it, or you can take it. You know, they're not being direct, man. Don't take the chip. Ye have not gone up into the gaps, neither made up the hedge for the house of Israel, man. All right, which is the protection, man. Okay, you want that protection from Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi. That's the hedge. Okay, the same hedge that was about Job, man. Okay, so let's keep reading on this. That was transmitted. Let's read injection. But with the astounding technology of today, everything about you could be contained in one tiny microchip, which would be connected to a government computer. Any government agency will know what any person has done and is doing at any time. Other sources say the tiny transmitter can be injected painlessly from a tiny gun in humans without them even knowing it. It says, I don't know, this book is kind of old. I don't know if some of the words that fucking scraped off, but it says, a nationwide nation program. All the government would have to do is make up something like the swine flu vaccine, Malbert says. Imagine if they said there was a vaccine for AIDS. People would rush in drones to get shots. The doctors themselves may not even know what they're injecting. They could be told the microchips are genetic implants that reprogram the body into fighting diseases. So they're going to come with some type of guise, man. Some type of plan, some type of plot to get the people to pack up like roaches, you know what I'm saying, to get that chip. Another way they're going to do it is by the celebrities, okay, by your athletes, okay, by these so-called quote-unquote prominent people in this world, okay, your pastors who is FEMA troop agents, okay, these pastors, these Christian communities are FEMA troop agents, man. Okay, they get told what to teach, what to do, and when things crack down, man, that those so-called pastors and leaders is gonna lead the people to the slaughter, man, to get the chip. It says he adds the program would require all federal, state, and local government workers to undergo the injection. So it's gonna be a global thing, man. So you're gonna have your faith in that day. It would only be a matter of time before everyone is implanted with a microchip, a slave to the government. And this is that signet, this is that stamp that will label you as a slave, man. Okay? To the government. To Esau Edom, to be exact. You watch the movie, this is a branding. Okay? You watch the movie Spartacus, the House of Badiatus. Once you get accepted into the House of Badiatus, what did they have to do? You have to get branded to let you know that this is my master. I'm gonna fight for him. I'm the gladiator for this dude. Okay, that's the branding. That's the mark. That's the chip, the microchip. Okay, and this is really for he that have an ear, let him hear, man. You know, he that have an ear, let him hear. Because through the spirit and power of bahasham, yahawashi, his righteous elect is not going to take this. Okay? And this is hey, I'm reading this from the book. This book right here, man. As you can see. Alright. Alright, this is by William Cooper. Behold, Pale Horse, man. Okay? I didn't make this shit. You know? But hey, the Lord is causing them to their tongue to fall upon themselves, meaning they're gonna get so proud and boastful that they're gonna do what? They're gonna start revealing their secrets. Because in their mind, it's who the fuck gonna stop me? You know, who's gonna stop this? Okay? So you know what? I'm gonna end it off on that. Lord willing, that this edifying into the elect. Okay? Through the spirit and power of yahawah, bahasham, quadash, barak, atham. Double honor to my apostles, great millstone, and citation to the alchemists pushing his truth, and sincerity, love, diligence, respect, fear, and trembling. Bob the ball.
All right, so I'm sure many of us have already looked at this, but I'm just going to go ahead and read some of this anyways. I figure that I just kind of comment on it as I read it. On October 1st, 2020, the Real ID law goes into effect in Washington. This is ID 2020. This is Revelation 13 right in your face. Are you prepared to travel in 2020? Real ID countdown. There's an actual countdown clock. There's plenty of time to prepare before October 1, 2020. Real ID will affect access to places controlled by the federal government. You know, and we already know what Real ID is. You may already have what you need. Real ID is a law, not an actual piece of ID. Per the law, there are many pieces of existing identification options that will work, including, you know, permanent resident card, U.S. military ID, U.S. passport card, foreign passport, enhanced driver's license, enhanced identification card. You know, even though the Real ID goes into effect on October 1, 2020, it only affects folks who want to travel by plane or access certain federal facilities. But eventually, you know as well as I do, your standard driver's license or ID will work for other U.S. travel, like driving in Washington across state lines or riding a train. But you know what they're eventually going to do. So, you know, this is Real ID was connected to it, but you know that the vaccinations have been with the implantable microchip. It's not going to tell you that on this. But nonetheless, though, you know, pretty much, man, you know, the whistle has been blown on this. You know, so that just brings us to Revelation 13. So let's go ahead and get it. And of course, if you don't know who the beast is, you know, well, you know, you're just pretty much ignorant, or you just haven't been paying attention. But to anyone who's new coming in, you know, we break it down anyways, you know, because there's still going to be new people coming in. So we know that the beast is the EU, the UN, NATO, and is the power structure of Esau, Edom, the red Hebrew Edomites, and was given unto him to make war with the saints. Who are the saints? They're the Israelites, especially the elect, and to overcome them, and a power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. So, you know, the hands of this world has been given, or this world has been given to the hands of the wicked, the elites, Amalek, and Edomites. And all them that dwell on the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. You know, 2/3 of our people worshipped this man and his system. You know, are still going to celebrate Halloween this week, are still going to celebrate Death Day today, you know, and are still going to pretty much bow down to his images that he set up, because he set himself up, you know. And the greatest terrorist threat that we have is actually an Edomite holding the Bible in his hand, because it don't belong to him. That was never given to him, but, you know, he has had his way with it. He was able to deceive the world. Satan was loosed from his prison so that he could go deceive the world, corresponded to this. Because, of course, we know that the bottomless pit is that area in the EU and pretty much is the UN, NATO. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. You know, all the peoples that led us captive are now going into captivity. They'll be underneath us very shortly, but look at what's happening now. These Edomites, Amalek in particular, is just fucking wrecking havoc and going into countries and invading them and stealing their resources. So it's happening. He that killeth with a sword must be killed with a sword. And that's what's happening. Here's the faith and the patience of the saints, so we're just patient on this to see this devil finally pay when we take him captive and we imprison him. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And this is the second structure of Esau, Edom, the revised Roman Empire. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. In other words, it corresponds with this verse. He exercised all the power of the first beast, so he's just as bad as the Roman Empire was originally, and caused the earth and them that which dwell therein to worship the first beast, a.k.a. the Edomites, whose deadly wound was healed. These Edomites, pretty much to worship them. And he doth great wonders, so that he make the fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. He's got the military, he's got all kinds of things by doing that. And of course, them fake healings, your bending hands and all that bullshit. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Again, worshipped the Roman Empire, worshipped big government. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and causes many that would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Anybody that doesn't go along with the New World Order plan is going to be destroyed, pretty much. Because we're seeing this come close, especially with ID 2020 right around the corner. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, which is all about ID 2020. Right here. It's always been about that, That's why, now more than ever, this famine of the word is going to be right around the corner, and a lot of people are going to go march in to get there. They've already taken to the real ID, but that's going to be replaced by the microchip, the implantable microchip, which is in the vaccines that everybody's so willing to go get. It's all these things. It's your U.S. passport card, federally recognized tribal issue photo ID. I mean, they got everybody in here, and it's a lot more. It goes deeper. And you and I both know, no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And we all know that chip, and that implantable microchip is the number of his name, and pretty much it's a stamp, and its number is 603.6, and we know that that's right around the corner. They're going to have everybody microchipped. Because vaccinations are forced in your school systems. Vaccinations are pretty much mandatory. So, it says, I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, meaning that you won't be tempted to go out and do this. That is the elect of his people. But it didn't say that we won't be going through trials. I'm going through my own trial right now, having to move, even though I paid my rent and all, but still have to move anyways. So, I hope all this has been edifying, and like everything else, though, Vocab Malo decided to visit the Houston camp this weekend, and so Apostle Tahara's got some commentary on that, so, forward those videos in this. Hope all this has been edifying. Until next time, barak the yahawah, barak the yahawashi, bahasham quadash, wa abab abal, barak atham, Jehovah elect, shalom. And if you want to help out, the information is in the box down below. Shalom.
Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, barak quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone that rule well and taught me this truth. Peace, love, and blessings to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, pushing the word and truth and in sincerity. To the brothers and sisters who watch these videos and are edified by them. Alright, shalom. I'm a brother, a warrior from the Seek the Way camp out in Modesto, California. And just want to come to you with a lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, bahasham, yahawashi, Lord willing, to be edifying unto you. Matthew 4:16, it says, the people which sat in darkness saw great light, and to them which sat in the region and shadow of death, light is sprung up. For that time yahawashi began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Alright, this truth is serious, man. Alright. Many people are walking around in great darkness, man. Alright. But we have the light, which is yahawashi. Yahawashi said, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So you got to take this thing seriously, man. Alright. Let me get another scripture here. Romans 13:11. It says, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honestly, as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying. But put ye on the Lord Yahawashi Mashiach, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. Alright, it's high time to wake up out of sleep, man. Alright? It's time to grow up. It's time to get serious. Alright, because your salvation is on the line. Your life is on the line, man. Alright, Yahawashi is returning soon. Okay, Yahawashi is coming as a thief in the night. Alright, these scriptures are serious. 2 Peter 3:10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought you to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Yahawah bahasham yahawashi, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Alright? So what manner of persons ought you to be? Okay? So 1 Timothy 3:8 says, likewise the deacons, likewise must the deacons be grave, not double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy of filthy lucre. Alright, Titus 2:1, it says, but speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and patience. Okay? So we need to be grave. It's time to get serious. It is time to adopt that grave mindset. Alright, playtime is over. Yahawah bahasham yahawashi is going to return as a thief in the night. The Lord, this stuff is coming quick, man. Okay? The Lord is coming back quick. Sooner than you think, man. And what, you know, you kidding me? I don't know what's going on with this shit search, man. This is Satan. Revelation 3:11. It says, "Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown." Revelation 22:7. Behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book. Revelation 22:12. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. All right. What does it say? Revelation 22:11. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. All right, so Yahawah bahasham yahawashi is coming quickly. All right, Yahawashi is coming quickly. It's time to get serious, man. It's time to get very serious. Yahawah bahasham yahawashi will bring judgment upon you at any time, man. All right, the Lord is coming as a thief in the night. Jacob's trouble is coming as a thief in the night, man. All right, the economic collapse. All right, this thing can come at a moment's notice. All right. So what type of mind state do you want to be in, you know, when these things come to pass, which are shortly going to come to pass? Zephaniah 1:14, the great day of the Lord is near. It is near and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of Yahawah bahasham yahawashi. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fifth cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Yahawah bahasham yahawashi, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. Yeah, so these preppers, you know, these people that think that you're gonna stock up on supplies, you're gonna get gold and silver, it's not gonna deliver you. All right. Your idols are not gonna deliver you. Your idols of gold and silver are not gonna deliver you either. All right, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. All right, because Yahawah bahasham yahawashi is going to destroy America with nuclear missiles. You don't want to be in that nuclear destruction. All right, you don't want to take part in that, man. So don't play with Yahawah bahasham yahawashi. Don't play with this truth, man. All right. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's time to get serious. It's time to repent. All right, it's time to pull your head out of your fucking ass and get it together. Get it together. All right. Micah 2:10. Arise you and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction. Okay? It's time to get your head, get yourself together, man. Get your mind right. All right? This truth is serious. These scriptures are serious, man. It's time for you to get serious. All right? What do you want to happen to you? You want to starve to death? You want to get eaten by wild fucking animals? Or do you want to live, man? You want to have a chance to be saved? 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. It's time to grow up. It's time to grow up and be a man and put away childish fucking things. All right? It's time to get serious. The gates of mercy are only open for so long, man. You got to think about these scriptures. It's not a joke. Matthew 7:21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity. All right? It's time to repent and get serious. So you do not want to be this person. You do not want the Lord to tell you, I never knew you. All right? And just be left in the fucking dust, man. This is very serious. All right? Terrifying things are coming soon. And you don't know if the Lord will deliver you or not. So you need to get it the fuck together. Get it together. Get serious, man. Get very serious. All right? Through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom of heaven, and no other way. Through the straight gate. There is no other way. All right? I hope this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, harakak, quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that ruled well and taught me this truth. And peace, love, and blessings to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, pushing the word in truth and in sincerity, and to the brothers and sisters that watch these videos and are edified by them. Alright? Get serious. Yahawah bahasham yahawashi is deadly serious. He is not playing around. Alright? Get serious. Shalom.
Shalom, Apostle Hawk, coming back at you with this truth, giving all praises to Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, quadash. I'm going to entitle this video, Let the Weak Say I Am Strong. And that's from Joel 3, verse 9. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this article that someone sent to me on one of the videos I did, put in the comment section. This is from CBS, CNBC, which is the financial branch of, or the financial channel of NBC. It says the anti-dollar awakening could be ruder and sooner than most economists predict. And this is a pretty lengthy article. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to just jump around. I'll start with the first paragraph, the opening. It says the United States is currently waging economic warfare against 1/10 of the world's countries, which cumulative population of nearly 2 billion people. 2 billion people. There's a lot of people on this earth. And combined gross domestic product, GDP, anytime you hear the word, the term or the acronym GDP, gross domestic product, that's like your gross domestic product would be what you have in your pockets, what you have in the bank, you know, what assets you may have, you know. So a country they also have a bank account and pocket money and properties and so forth. But they judge it based upon money. Anyway, it says of more than 15 trillion. Let me read that again. It says nearly 2 billion people in combined gross domestic product, GDP, of more than 15 trillion. It said these include Russia, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, Sudan, Zimbabwe, Myanmar, the Democratic Republic of Congo, North Korea, and others on which Washington has imposed sanctions. So the U.S. is against these nations. And we're going to read about China. You're probably wondering, where's China? Oh, well, it says it in the next sentence. It says North Korea and others on which Washington has imposed sanctions over the years, but also countries like China, Pakistan, and Turkey, which are not under full sanctions, but rather targets of other punitive economic measures. And by the way, Turkey is a member of both the EU and NATO, if I'm not mistaken. It says, in addition, thousands of individuals from scores of countries are included in the Treasury Department's list of specially designated nationals who are effectively blocked from U.S.-dominated global finance system, which is the petrodollar, the world reserve currency. It says many of those designated are either part of or closely linked to their country's leadership. From a U.S. perspective, each one of the economic entities is targeted for a good reason, be it human rights violation. And Esau in America always pulls that shit. You know, here we got Jake getting shot up every time he turn around by cops and being discriminated against, and they're gonna call the nation out because of their human rights violations. Give me a fucking break. Is it terrorism? Who's the biggest terrorism? America was founded based upon terrorists taking this place from the tribe of Gad, the tribe of Reuben, and then the other tribes amongst the what they call it, the scriptures call it 10 tribes. Terrorism, crime, the biggest criminals, nuclear trade, corruption, or in the case of China, unfair trade practices and intellectual property death. Come on, man. Come on, dog. Okay, let me read on. It says, but in recent months, it seems that America's unwavering commitment to fight all of the world's scourges, the great I am, which is the U.S., has brought all those governments and the wealthy individuals who support them to a critical mass, joining forces to create a parallel financial system. There's a reason why you have the term world reserve currency, because that's the money system that the whole world deals with. It's also called a petrodollar. So when nations buy oil from another nation outside the U.S., they have to convert their monies into U.S. dollars, whether the dollar is weak or strong, in order to make a transaction, with another country to purchase oil. It says joining forces to create. So now what's happening now is these nations are saying basically the hell with the U.S., the hell with the U.S. dollar, the hell with the the world reserve currency, the hell with the petrodollar. We doing our own thing, which is ultimately going to cause the war of Armageddon. It's going to be caused over money, or over oil, and over resources. It says which and this is Habakkuk 2 in stereo. All right, Habakkuk 2 to the 10th power. It says which would be out of reach of America's long arm. Should they succeed, the impact on America's global posture would be transformational. Let me read on. It says America's global supremacy has been made possible not only thanks to its military power, because what keeps the world reserve currency afloat? It's the military that backs it. See, money is supposed to be backed by gold and or silver, but what backs the Federal Reserve note, the world reserve currency, which is the same thing, or the petrodollar, which is the same thing. There's three ways you can say the Federal Reserve note or the U.S. dollar. What backs it? You might say, well, what backs this dollar? The military, the U.S. military. And let me read that again. America's global supremacy has been made possible not only thanks to its military power and its alliance system, but also due to its control over the plumbing of global finance, and particularly the broad acceptance of the dollar as the world reserve currency. The unique status of the U.S. currency, world reserve currency, petrodollar, has anchored, Federal Reserve note, has anchored the global financial system since World War II. And this was the world reserve currency before the U.S. became the world power was Great Britain, England. And there was a meeting, the Bretton Woods gathering, a conference, and it was announced that the U.S. dollar is the world dollar. It goes on to say any transaction done in U.S. dollars or using a U.S. bank, which deals with U.S. dollars, automatically brings the trading parties under American legal jurisdiction. When the U.S. decides to impose unilateral sanctions, as in the case of Iran, it essentially tells the world's governments, corporations, and individuals they must choose between halting business with the sanctioned country or be shut off from the world's number one economy. This is a powerful stick. And you know what comes to mind? I'm going to read the rest of the article, then I'm going to go into the scriptures. Not many companies or banks can afford to give up on the U.S. market or be denied access to U.S. financial institutions, which are mainly the banks. Revisionist countries that wish to challenge the U.S.-led system see this as an affront to their economic sovereignty, which is why both Russia and China have developed their own versions of the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications, SWIFT. So in the future, when you see the acronym SWIFT, you know what it's talking about. It says the global network that allows cross-border financial transactions among thousands of banks. Both countries are also urging their trading partners to ditch the dollar in their bilateral trade in favor of the indigenous currencies. So they have their own alliance, which, you know, the U.S. is not invited to the party. Now what I'm going to do here is, oh, you know what? I got to read this. Let me go into the middle of this. Let me go down to. It says this month Russia was quick to recruit Turkey, which, by the way, Turkey is a member of the EU and NATO, if I'm not mistaken. Turkey is part of the beast. So the beast is breaking up. The feet of it, part iron and part miry clay, in Daniel the 2nd chapter. Into the anti-dollar bloc, announcing it would back non-dollar trade with it after a financial feud between Ankara and Washington broke out. China, for its part, is using its $1 trillion Belt and Road Initiative as a tool to compel countries to transact in yuan, which is the Chinese dollar, and I believe it means the people's money. You can look it up yourself. It says terms instead of dollars. So they're using their money now. So they're no longer. And this is Obadiah, which is 1 chapter long. They shall look. They shall be small. I can't even. Let me go to it. Let me go to it. I'm sorry. I read it yesterday. Obadiah. Okay, here we go. Oh, and by the way, some or most of these countries in one time or another received financial aid from the U.S. Okay, it says Obadiah 1 verse 2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, the other nations thou art greatly despised, greatly hated. Small, when you look it up, it means to be insignificant, to not show respect to. So what they're doing, they're openly showing disrespect to America. They basically say we don't agree with the petrodollar. We're going to do our own thing. It says in 7 verse, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with you had financial peace with thee, have deceived thee. They have deceived thee. Now it said in that article that China is known for international intellectual theft. They're stealing ideas from American inventors. Well, you know what? That's a fulfillment of the 7th verse of Obadiah, the 1st chapter. It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread, thy money, in the form of aid, have laid a wound unto thee. There is none understanding in him. So now let's go back to the article. And see, if you claim that you know the scriptures, you're supposed to go to a news article or a financial news article, and you're supposed to filter it right through the scriptures. This is something that Christians don't understand. They don't know what's going on. They watch something on the news, if they do watch news, and they don't know how to filter it through the scriptures. It says, where did I leave off at? Okay, China. It says China, this is the paragraph that starts with, this month Russia was quick to recruit Turkey into the anti-dollar bloc, announcing its, okay, you can read the rest. Anyway, let me jump down to the middle. It says, Okay, it says as a tool to compel countries to transact in yuan, the Chinese dollar, terms instead of dollars, which is the Federal Reserve notes. Pakistan, the #1 recipient of Belt and Road money, and Belt and Road money, I believe that means. Let me Google that. I believe that stands for Chinese money, but let's find out. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, that's another acronym. BRI is a global development strategy adopted by the Chinese government. So anytime you come across the word BRI, it's the acronym for Belt Road Initiative, or Belt and Road money. Let me read again. It says the Belt and Road Initiative is a global development strategy adopted by the Chinese government involving the infrastructure. That's why they're over there in Africa, building stuff up. They're building it under the acronym BRI. It says involving infrastructure development and investment in 152 countries and international organizations in Asia, Europe, Africa, the Middle East. So the Chinese, they're the new the powerhouse. You know, at one time you had U.S. and Russia. Those were the two. What's the term? They haven't used it in so long, but they're the two power nations, for lack of a better term. I forget the actual term. Forgive me. Anyway, the new power, world power. Well, the world power. You had two world powers: Russia and the U.S. Russia had a financial collapse. Russia came back in a big way. Now you got a lot of billionaires, multi-billionaires coming out of Russia. Anyway, so China would be considered the third power, world power, which they're in agreement with Russia. They're both a part of the BRICS nations. That's another acronym. It says it says investments. The Chinese have investments in 152 countries and international organizations in Asia, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and the Americas. When it says Americas, it's talking mainly outside of the U.S., the Latin American countries. So I mean, look, we know these scriptures, man. Not like you Christians. I mean, Vocab would never do a video like this because he doesn't understand prophecy. He's clueless. He's clueless when it comes to prophecy, and that's why he never goes into prophecy, because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't know how to break down those prophecies. He'll stay out of Obadiah. He'll stay out of the book of Revelation. He'll stay out of the book of Daniel. He'll stay out of the book of Ezekiel. He'll stay out of the book of Jeremiah. He'll stay out of the book of Isaiah, Zechariah, Obadiah. He'll stay out of all those books because Christians, for the most part, do not understand it. Now, there's some that do understand it, which are the scholarly Christians, which are mainly Edomites, and they understand. They see what we see. So now let's go back. Let's go back. And this is how we know that the end is, I don't know when the end's going to come. It could come in another 150 years. Well, that's an idiot. You get away from a nigga like that, you know? And when I say nigga, I'm not talking about a black person. I'm talking about a nigger. Niggard, from the word niggardly. A dumb, ignorant person. It says, let me go back. It says Pakistan, the #1 recipient of Belt and Road money. Now we know what Belt and Road money means, which is a BRI, Belt Road Initiative, which is adopted by China, and Iran. There goes Iran again. Think about Ezekiel 30, the 38th chapter, have already announced their intention to do just that. Look, like the hell with America, we gonna do our own thing. It said last month's BRICS Another acronym, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Summit in Johannesburg, that's in South Africa, was a call to arms. This is why we are also known as the prophets to the nations, because we're telling the nations who they are. They don't know who they are. The Chinese don't know that they're Moabites. You know, the Russians don't know that they're Gog and Magog. The India doesn't know that they're the Elamites or the Persians. And Brazil is one of the tribes, Asher. It says in Johannesburg was a call to arms against the dollar hegemony. Look up the word hegemony. And when you think of the word hegemony, what should come to mind is they are more stout than their fellows in Daniel the 7th chapter. That's why, and their fellows are the other European nations. That's why ultimately these European allies are going to shoot missiles on America. Anyway, it says hegemony. Hegemony is I'm going to give you the simple breakdown. Hegemony is the political, economic, or military predominance or control of one state over others. One state over others. What did I just say in Daniel the 7th chapter? They are more stout than their fellows. So another way of saying hegemony is they are more stout than their fellows. In ancient Greek, hegemony denoted the political military dominance of a city-state over other city-states, plural. The dominant state is known as the hegemon. And this has nothing to do with Pokemon. This is not Pokemon's brother. Anyway, let me read that again. It says last month, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa summit in Johannesburg was a call to arms against the dollar hegemony with countries like Turkey, Jamaica, Indonesia, Argentina, Turkey was at one time considered insignificant. Now they're like a major player on the world stage. Jamaica, Jamaica, there's a lot of resources in Jamaica. Indonesia, Argentina, and then you got in Venezuela, you got oil. Their number one resource. And Egypt is back in the news again, or been in the news, invited to join in what is known as BRICS Plus. Oh, that's a new one. So you got BRICS and then you got BRICS Plus. It says with the goal of creating a de-dollarized economy. What does that mean? De-dollarized. It means to don't deal with the US dollar. Wow. Well, you got to read. I'm not going to read this mentions OPEC. It mentions, I did a video on OPEC, the oil producing export countries. That's what that stands for. And it reads into Nixon, during the time period of Nixon in 1973. That keeps coming up while you had the gas crisis and the prices skyrocketed up and then came back down. That was over the Yom Kippur War. Let me jump down to, and I urge you to read this whole article and award it to the brother that put it in the comment board. Okay, let me see. Let me go to the last, next to the last. Yeah, I guess the last paragraph, or next to the last paragraph. It said, in the midst of America's economic euphoria, it is worth remembering that one of every 4 people on the planet lives today in a country whose government is committed to end the dollar. Let me read that from the top. In In the midst of America's economic euphoria, it is worth remembering that 1 of every 4 people on the planet lives today in a country whose government is committed to end the dollar hegemony. Thwarting their effort should be Washington's top national priority. And in other words, this American system, which is Babylon, is going to fall. There's countries that no longer want to do business with you, and I just read that in Obadiah, the 7th verse. So now let me go to Joel. Let me go to Joel 3. And we know a lot of you brothers and sisters, some of you sisters, you like to see Edomite woman licks the toes, the boots of brother so and so, you know, and that gets 35,000 hits. You know, if we're going into, you know, the news, current events, and economic news events and filter, you don't want to hear that. See, a lot. You know what I found out about Jake? Jake is not deep. Jake has a very small attention span. Hey, I was lining up the brothers. We kind of have a class now for about 20 minutes after the camp breaks up. I kind of hit them with fast questions, and I noticed, you know, these guys got to get more disciplined, man. I'm gonna have to put the Bunsen burner on them, man. And you hear them asking questions, and you see certain guys whispering to each other. That's not gonna happen no more. Okay? You know, next Saturday, if you're watching a video, you're gonna have to look and listen. And if we have you stand at attention, brother, you ain't gonna be leaning on the wall no more. All right? You guys need to pull your fucking your trousers up, man. You know, I ask questions and I expect all hands to go up, and then maybe 50% of the hands go up. You guys need to stop fucking playing games, man, or join another camp. Join another camp. You can join a camp and you can do whatever the hell. You can cut your hair the way you want to cut your hair. And these hairstyles are getting ridiculous, man. You know, we're in the sifting right now. And see, this is the same spirit that happened back in the One West days. The camp that I had the largest camp at that time, which had about 51, 52 men, and all of them fell out except for the only 2 that's left from my camp is this guy, Bishop Nate Nathaniel and Apostle Gabar. Those are the only 2 that are left. Oh, and then you got Arab Karab, this guy, the Hebrew expert that you seen him do a video and then you don't see him no more. He comes, he hangs out for a couple of weeks, then you don't see him for 2-3 years. Anyway, let's jump down to the 9th verse. It says, proclaim, Joel 3 verse 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, which means the nations. So vocab, if you're watching it, this word right here doesn't mean the other nations outside of Israel. When you go to the New Testament, it mentions Gentiles. For the most part, it's talking about Israelites in a Gentile state of mind. It says prepare war. Trade wars, cold wars turn into hot wars. Trade wars turn into hot wars. Hot wars is actually when they use weapons. And ultimately what's going to happen is there will be what they call a third world war, which the scriptures refer to as the war of Armageddon, where the Lord comes and the missiles come along with him. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up, beat their plowshares into swords. Plowshares are farming tools. So the money that they have for agriculture, for infrastructure, they're going to put it into weapons, ICBM weapons, and the technology is out of the hands of Russia and the U.S. and now in the hands of the Chinese, and these other poorer third world nations have the ability to produce ICBM missiles. And you're pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourself together round about. Thither cause thy mighty one to come down, O Yahawah. The mighty ones are the angels. So the angels are going to muster the host of the battle, because they're going to be doing the bidding of the Most High. You know, it tells you when, let me find it. I should have had it up, but let's go to Revelation 9. Show you that the angels will be involved. Revelation 9. Let's go to let's go to the 12th verse. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. And the sixth angels sounded. And we're in between when the seventh angel sounds, that's when all hell breaks loose. It says, and the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from heaven, from the four horns of the golden altar which is before the Most High, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, which is 200 million. And the 200 million represent not angels; it represents ICBM missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's what the elders or the high priests of When West taught, and that's correct. They didn't go off on that. You got guys saying it's talking about angels. You got certain Edomite Christian scholars say it's talking about the Chinese army. It's talking about missiles, and I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses, and it goes and it describes the actual missiles. Also in Joel, the second chapter, those are missiles. That's not an actual army of Israelites. Those are missiles. What's the other scripture? There's another scripture. I believe that's Revelation 16, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's 16. I just got to get the verse. Bear me for a minute. Sorry, base. Give me a second here. Okay, I think I found it. I believe it's the 12th verse, Revelation 16, verse 12. Let me start at the 11th verse. And blaspheme the Most High heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. And the sixth angel, and we just read about the sixth angel, the sixth trumpet in the previous Revelation 9, poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east, which are the Middle Eastern people in Africa, and that includes China, but the key point is in the Levant, might be prepared. So we're in that time. We're in Habakkuk. Habakkuk, the second chapter, is in full swing. So now let's go back to Joel 3. It says, let me see where I left off at. Let me go to 11. Joel 3 verse 11. Assemble yourself and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourself together to the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I set sit to judge all the heathen round about. The valley of Jehoshaphat is right smack dab in the middle of the Levant, which is the Middle East. It said, put ye in a sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, and the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahawah is near in the valley of decision. So, you know, this is what we're waiting for. But before this actually happens, they're going to put, I don't know how they're going to do it, when you have these, the BRICS nations, and you have the nations that no longer acknowledge the U.S. So I don't know how it's going to work out where the mark is going to be issued to all people, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen because the scripture said it's going to happen. So we see that the technology is here, but how are they going to make it happen? You know, you got to wait to see. The Most High doesn't give us the details on that. And they wanted to do this years ago, but they knew they were going to, you know, come up against a wall. And the fact that, and mainly in America, the Swedes, they take it because they're not a spiritual people. They don't believe in the Most High. They might read the scriptures, but they don't understand the scriptures. Or, you know, it might be educated types or atheists or whatever. But when it comes to America, they're going to confront a brick wall in these Bible Belt states. These Edomites, these born againers in the South, that's all they do. They think religion all the time. They got, you know, church going all 7 days a week. And a lot of them know that the mark of the beast is the microchip. They know that, and a lot of them are watching us anyway. And then you have Israelites that's not going to take. There were certain Israelites are not going to take the chip, but others are going to take the chip, and some of them, even others are going to bug the hell out. So before this happens, this is one step closer to Armageddon. But before Armageddon takes place, I keep saying this, the mark of the beast has to be made mandatory to the whole planet Earth, and that's the test. We're going to be tested. You know, Revelation 3. Let me go to that. Revelation 3 verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word, which is the scriptures, of my patience, you did what the scriptures say do, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. The hour of temptation is when you're confronted with that chip, which shall come upon all the world. Now the word world there is, I'm positive it's oikomeni, not cosmos. Let's find out. I'm sorry. Oikomeni. And oikomeni, so the whole world's going to be tested. Oikomeni means the inhabited earth, the portion of the earth inhabited by the Greeks, which that's going off in distinction from the lands of blah, 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 the Roman Empire, because they had their world, which was limited. The best answer is, or the best definition is, the whole inhabited earth, the world, the inhabitants of the earth. The first definition, the inhabited earth. So the word world is different from the word world in John 3:16, which Christians don't understand it unless they're scholars, unless they truly understand the scriptures. Okay, let me see here. It says okay, it says, let me read the 10th verse again. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the whole world, oikomeni, or the whole planet, to try them, test them, that dwell upon the earth. Now that's more Now you know it's not talking about a certain segment of the world. It says to try them that dwell upon the earth. Oikumeni. Behold, I come quickly, hold that fast, or fasten, or hold it tight, which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. So what you have the truth. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my power, and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem. New Jerusalem is old Jerusalem coming back redone. The new name of the Most High is the old name of the Most High coming back to you, because no one recognized the Lord as Yahawah and the Son Yahawashi, which cometh down out of heaven from my power, and I will write upon him my new name. It says, he that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. That's talking about the seven churches of Asia Minor, which are back here today, which are men of GMS. And then you have brothers that's of other camps that are teaching the truth, so respect unto them too. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom, and it's on to the next one. Shalom. Shalom. This is a live. I guess he did this a while back and put it up. This is a live stream, whether he pre-recorded and put it up live. A friendly conversation with Hebrew Israelites. This is a vocab alone, and I just caught something. Let me see if I can catch it.
Remember the day of the Lord came with what? Locusts, right? But then you have the final day of the Lord. The mark of the beast is a symbolic alignment with the devil and a system. Can you put that in? Okay. No, it's a symbolic. What's the Greek word for? I can bring it up. What's scripture? You go to? Oh man, come on, bro. No, I know where you're going. All right, but where you want to go? You want to go Revelation 7, Revelation 5? Revelation 13. All right. Now here's the thing. I can show you from the context that it's symbolic. Did you know that? How you gonna buy with symbol? What are you talking about? Yeah, because it says those who are aligned with the Lamb receive a mark on their forehead or right hand, and that's not a literal mark.
Yeah, but that has that.
All right, let me show you. This one I gotta look up, okay?
Okay, he said it's the mark is a symbolic thing in Revelation 13, and then he quoted the believers receiving the mark from the Lord. He didn't say what scripture he quoted, but let's see. Let's try to find it here. And a lot of these guys do that. They'll go to the word mark in Revelation 13, verse 16, and then they'll quote other scriptures that contain the word mark, and they'll say that, well, this mark he marked him with this, so that's symbolic. No, let's go to Revelation 13, verse 15. It says, and he called us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or in their foreheads. That word mark, we know, is charagma. You can look it up, click on it, whatever. Go to the concordance, Strong's, go to the Hebrew New Testament. The word is charagma, which is the physical thing. Now, when you come across the word mark in other scriptures, it doesn't mean charagma. As a matter of fact, let's prove that. Let's see how many times this word mark in Revelation 13, verse 16 appears in the scriptures. It appears. It should be in more scriptures than that. It should be in other scriptures in Revelation. Anyway, it says the mark, which is charagma, right? Anyway, let's do it this way. Let me put this up raw. Okay, let's deal with the word mark. Charagma, which is a physical thing that's physically put into you. When you read the definition, charagma, which goes back to the word charax, which is the delivery system, the needle, if you will. Anyway, it said a stamp, an imprinted mark. Imprinted mark is physical. Of the mark stamped on the foreheads of the or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. They went off on that. They got it half right. There's no such thing as an Antichrist. The mark band upon horses. You put a mark on your horses in case your horse leaves the barn and your neighbor takes a horse and you know that it's your horse because your mark is on that horse. It says thing carved in. You don't carve symbolic things into something. Sculpture, graven work, that's physical, of idolatrous images, which are graven images that man makes. So let me go to the word mark. Let me do this. Let me check this. Okay, now this word mark. Oh, wait a minute. This word mark is G5480, which is and it shows you that vocab Malone doesn't understand. Like I've said many a times in the past, vocab does not understand prophecies. You have Christian groups, Christian teachers out there that actually teach that the mark of the beast is the microchip. You have many Christian pastors and scholars that say that the mark of the beast is the microchip. It is physical. So let's look up the word mark. G5480. Greek is charagma, which occurs 9 times in 9 verses in the Greek concordance of the KJV. So the first time the word mark comes up, G5480, is in Acts 17 verse 29. It says, for as much then as we are the offspring of the Most High, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone graven. What do you do with gold? You can make statues out of gold. You can make jewelry out of gold. You can do the same thing with silver. You can do the same thing with stone. You go to these different churches that have these saints, especially the Roman Catholic Church. It's made out. It starts from stone. Somebody carves it out to make it look like Mary, or to make it look like what the world calls Jesus, which is the white Jesus, which is nothing but the model was Cesare Borgia, but before that it was what's this guy, Serapis Crispy, I call him. So they made an image. If you put up a Serapis Christus, if I'm pronouncing it right, you'll see an image of a guy that looked like Caesar Borgia with a flower pot on the top of his head. That was your first so-called Jesus. It says by art and man's device. What is man's device? The chisel the hammer and the chisel that he uses to carve the image. Let me read that again. So this word mark, G5480, is for as much then as we are the offspring of the Most High. Offspring meaning we're the spiritual sons of the Most High. We were born by our father and mother, and we became spiritual sons of the Most High. And so we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold. In other words, this right here is cutting those idol worshippers. It says don't make a image of God and bow down to it. Now you might say, what about that picture of the Lord that's supposed to be black? I said that's just an artist's conception of what he may look like. We don't worship that image. We're just using that to illustrate what the Lord might look like. It says Godhead like unto gold or silver or stone graven by art and man's device. In other words, you take a stone, a round stone, a long stone, and you carve it and you make it look like a person. You can do it with gold and you can do it with silver. They take silver. You can make a silver coin, engrave a coin, a coin, or you can melt that coin down and you can turn it into a ring or a couple of rings. Okay, the other times is Revelation 13 verse 16. We read that. Revelation 13 verse 17. Same thing, charagma. Revelation 14 verse 9. When it speaks about the mark, the word is charagma, in the forehead, not the spiritual forehead, but the physical forehead, or in his hand. Revelation 14 verse 11. Who worship the beast, and he doesn't even know who the beast is. If he rolls up on any of you Israelite, ask him about the beast, and he doesn't know prophecy. He doesn't understand prophecy, because they don't teach that in theological seminaries. And his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark, which is physical, charagma, G5480. Here it is again in Revelation 15 verse 2. Charagma. We gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark. We didn't take the chip, the physical chip. And we're going to be above the sea of glass having harps. So music is going to be playing. We're going to physically be up in the air. Revelation 16 verse 2. It said, and there, I'm reading from the middle, fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark. The sore is going to be a physical sore of the beast. Who's the beast? And what's the mark? The mark is a physical thing that's put in your forehead or in your brain or in your hand, and upon them which worship the image. The image is not a picture, Caesar Borgia. Revelation 19 verse 20. Him with which he deceived them that had received the mark, which is a physical thing in your forehead or in your brain or in your hand. So that's the only time that word mark comes up. Now if you write in the word mark, and I'm glad them brothers asked him about the mark of the beast. Okay, mark. The word mark appears 37 times in 36 verses in the KJV. So let's just go through it. I'm not going to go through it, 37 verses. Let's go to keeps coming up with the name Mark. Okay, this is I don't know if this is Philemon. Bear with me for a minute. Philippians, I'm sorry. I said Philemon. Philippians. Philippians 3 verse 14. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High in yahawashi HaMashiach. A mark is a finish line, so it's an invisible finish line. It says Philippians 3 verse 17. Brethren, be followers together of me, and mark them which walk so as ye have us for an example or example. Now what does it mean to mark somebody? Does it mean to take out a magic marker and just put a mark over them? No, it's talking about watch them. Let's click on it. Let's see what it means. I'm almost positive the word is wait a minute. Scope, I knew it. Scopeo. Scope, you know what the word scopeo, G4648. Scopeo means to look at, observe, contemplate, to mark. You know, mark the perfect man. That doesn't mean put a mark on him or put a chip in him. To fix one's eyes upon, to scope out. So, you know, this guy doesn't understand the scriptures. So let's go back.
Lord. Okay, I got it. I got it. That's what I was saying in Revelation 7. So if you look at this, check this out. Because there is a reason why I'm saying that. After this, I saw 4 angels standing in 4 corners of the earth, straining forward to the earth, so that no wind could blow on the earth or on the sea or on fire. Then I saw one who went to the sea, so that the sea of the God.
He's reading from Revelation, the 7th chapter.
The seal of the living God. Right. The seal of the living God. Those that cry out a loud voice before angels who allow to harm the earth and the sea, don't harm the earth, sea, and trees, to seal servants of our God on their forehead.
That has nothing to do with that mark in Revelation 13. So let's go to that. Let's go to that. The Most High is not going to have angels with microchips putting it in your forehead or in your hand. He doesn't understand. He truly doesn't understand. Anytime vocab rolls up, go into prophecy, because he doesn't understand prophecy. All he knows is what he learned from the theological seminary. Let's go to that. Let's deal with the word seal. Let me do it this way. Seal. Okay, the second and the third verse. It says, Revelation 7 verse 3, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. Now let's see if the word is charagma there. Where is it at? Okay, the word there is not charagma, but G4972, which is, let you hear it.
Strong's G4972. Sfragizo. Sfragizo.
Sfragizo. What does it mean? To set a seal upon, mark with a seal, to seal for security from Satan, since things sealed up or concealed, to set a mark upon by the impress of a seal or a stamp, in order to mark a person or a thing, to confirm, authenticate, beyond place beyond doubt of a written document, to prove one's testimony to a person that is what he professes to be. That's going to be an invisible seal. When during the first Passover, it said that you were to take the lamb's blood and to put it on the post of your door, and when the death angel came over your house and they saw that physical blood, they went, that was a seal right there, but they used physical blood. This seal is an invisible seal. Now it says here in what is it?